here of Elena's Active Lifestyle. I'm an online health and fitness coach with my growing belly here, and I just want to take a little bit of time today to share with you a few tricks that when I started really paying attention to my eating and really kind of looking more into nutrition and things like that, probably, almost 7 or so years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, and some tricks that I use to help me get started with my clean eating and just developing some good habits to help me to lose weight. And I only needed to lose about 5 or so pounds, but the reason I started kind of getting more into this or putting things more in perspective is it was after I trained for and ran my first full marathon. Well, my first and only full marathon, but I noticed that after I had endured all that training and the months of running high mileage and things like that, my body had become really efficient at burning carbs, but not necessarily in a good way. It was also good at storing carbs because it was used to having to use those more for fuel when I was running. And so I noticed that while I was getting in really good endurance shape, my body and my stomach and things were starting to get more out of shape. Like I was feeling more bloated. I felt like my eating was just really off, and I just wanted to put things into better perspective. So I had gotten this book was called Ultra Metabolism. It's by, I'm trying to remember who wrote it. It was a doctor that wrote it, but it was very eye-opening to me, and it talked a lot about the Mediterranean diet and how people over in Europe, how they don't struggle with weight like we do because, for one, they eat more fresh whole foods, and just some other, they're a lot more active in their day-to-day activities, and just a lot of little things that I started kind of evaluating in my own life and try to put them into play and see how my body responded to them. So I'm gonna share those 3 tricks with you and see, maybe they could be something that would help you and give you a good starting point. And this is something that I try to teach in my online private accountability groups as well. So hopefully it helps. The first one is to take your time eating your meals. For me to establish this habit, when I started it almost 6 years ago, I would sit down, and as soon as I sat down to eat my meal, I would look at the clock. And I said, okay, I need to make sure that I can make this meal last at least 10 minutes. All right? And then once I got to those 10 minutes, I would say, okay, let's make it 15. And then if we got to 15 minutes, I would then try to say, okay, let's see if I can stretch it out to 20. And what that was doing is it was causing me to take my time eating my meals. I typically was a very fast eater. I've kind of reverted back to that now as a mom. I'm trying not to, but now my daughter distracts me more, so I take longer to eat my meals. But I was always a very fast eater. I always felt like I needed to eat on the go, and so I would just scarf food down. And I struggled with that as a kid a lot. It would cause me to have a lot of gas and indigestion. I would get nauseous and I'd get sick and things like that. So the first trick, like I said, is taking your time to eat your meals. Try to make your meals last no less than 10 minutes and preferably more between 15 and 20 minutes. And the reason for that being is that by taking your time to eat your meals, not only are you enjoying your food and paying more attention to what you're eating and how your body's responding to it, you're also giving your stomach time to send its signal up to the brain whenever it's full. So if you spend less than 10 minutes eating a meal, there's a good chance you're overeating because your body is not getting enough adequate time to send that response to let your brain know that your stomach is full, and that takes about 7 to 8 minutes or so. My second trick is to eat small portions with this. So I switched from a traditional dinner plate at this time to a salad plate, and I would try to fill half of my plate with greens and veggies, and then about a quarter of it with a protein or a meat, and then our beans, and then about a quarter of it with maybe like a grain or a potato or something like that, or maybe even a fruit. And so with that timing my meals, I was also eating smaller portions, so my body was able to get less food in. And I noticed that because I was taking my time to eat those smaller portions, those portions were actually filling me up, because before I would eat too fast and then I wasn't getting that time for my stomach to send the signal to my brain telling me that I was full. So with timing your meals, you're also able to eat smaller portions. And the third one is to drink lots of water with your meals. When I was doing all these things, a lot of what they talked about in that book with the ultra metabolism, with the Mediterranean diet and how those people eat, they said that not only are they spending almost an hour to eat a meal because it's a family event over in Italy and places like that. They sit down, they have a small bowl of pasta or whatever, or salads or whatever they're eating, but they take their time to eat because they're spending time in conversation, enjoying time with family and things like that. So they're savoring their meals, plus they're taking their time to eat. But they're also drinking lots of water with those meals, or Italians like their wine. So a lot of times they're drinking wine, but they might only be sipping on one glass of wine in that whole duration of their meal. So with timing my eating and eating smaller portions, I was also trying to take every couple bites, I was chewing my food thoroughly so it was more easily digestible. But I was also trying to drink lots of water, and water aids in digestion. So, and your body absorbs nutrients and stuff better whenever you're getting more fluids in. So I would eat a couple bites, chew them thoroughly, and then I'd take a sip of water. And I have always eaten my meals with about my 24-ounce water bottle. And so I was trying to, within that 15 to 20 minutes of eating a meal, I was trying to drink an entire 24-ounce bottle of water. So not only was I eating smaller portions, I was timing my meals and trying to spend at least 15 to 20 minutes enjoying my meal. I was chewing my food more thoroughly, so it was more digestible and less gas producing, and my body was better able to absorb the nutrients. Plus I was enjoying my food. And then I was taking sips of water, which not only aids in digestion, it also helped my stomach to feel more full. So all those little tricks, when you put them together and establish those habits, can really make a difference. And my husband, I remember when I started this, it was whenever we were in the process of moving from where we first lived in marriage out in Virginia back to Missouri, our home state. And he had already moved back because he had to start work, and I was still out in Virginia trying to finish up with personal training clients and things like that. So it was really easy for me to do this habit because there was no distractions in my house. It was just me there, and I was really focusing on this and really trying to apply those principles. But when I moved back to Missouri with my husband, I was still trying to stick to them. And he was making fun of me. He's like, "Why are you looking at the clock? Why are you timing yourself eating?" And I kind of explained this book I had been reading and how I was trying to apply these principles and see how my body responded. But within a week of doing these things, plus I was exercising more and things like that, I lost 5 pounds. I don't think it was a fluke. I think it was completely based on science. I was eating smaller portions. I was eating healthier food too. I was trying to eat a lot more greens and lean protein. And I wasn't stressing myself with my meal. I was taking time to relax and enjoy my food. So my food would be digested and absorbed a lot more properly. And just little things like that. Plus I was getting a lot more water in. So those are all things whenever I notice myself eating too much or not feeling as good with my where I'm at with my meals. Portion control, timing myself eating, and staying hydrated with my meals are the 3 things I always go back to and try to keep in check. And that's a lot of what we teach. Thank you. Those are beautiful. With what we do with the meal plans and stuff in my group. So I would, Yes, I see the rocks. I would encourage you all, she brought me some flowers, encourage you all to, no, don't touch it. I would encourage you all to try these 3 principles. Sit down, time yourself while you're eating, try to eat small portions and chew your food thoroughly, and drink lots of water with your meals. And see how those things help you getting started on healthier habits. But until then, I'm going to head out before she starts getting a little too camera happy. And I'll be talking to you soon, but feel free to message me or comment below if you have any questions. Hope you all have a great day. Peace.